Welcome to my next Lost. Season 3 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you are caught up to the point where I am rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen the show Lost 3 times. I'm rewatching it to let it resonate more. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, top 5 for sure. But I'm not the only one that's currently watching Lost. The legendary Crazy Kaufman, who you see in my comment section a lot of times, is actually watching Lost for the first time. So join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show. No spoilers past this episode. But with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 3, Episode 12. The title of this episode is called Avion. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start off with a flashback. We have a left eye with a heavy black eyeliner slowly open. It's Claire. She awakens slowly to realize that she is sitting in her automobile immediately after a severe car accident. She's caught, her airbag is deployed and deflated, and her mother has been thrown through the broken windscreen onto the pavement. When her door does not work, Claire crawls out her broken windscreen to reach her mother, who remains motionless. Claire opens her right eye. This is current time, awakening in her tent to a plate of fruit beside her with a message attached to it that reads, G-Day. Charlie arrives at her tent carrying Aaron and tells her about a picnic he has planned on the beach and that he has arranged for Sun and Jin to take care of Aaron while they dine. Saeed, Locke, Kate, Russo, and Mikhail are resting momentarily while Saeed and Locke begin to argue about the relative merits of following the electrical conduct map found in the flame station versus following Echo's stick. Before Charlie and Claire can settle into their picnic, Desmond comes out of the jungle asking for Charlie to come hunting with him, saying his time would be better spent hunting. Charlie is reluctant, but Desmond persists. He has an ulterior motive. Just then, Claire notices birds flying in the air and announces that she has realized a possible way of getting off the island. Claire explains to Charlie that the birds are migrating south and that scientists have tagged them to see where they land. She devises a plan to capture a bird and tie a rescue note to its leg in hopes that a scientist will find and read it and enlists Sun and Jin to help. She attempts to persuade Charlie as well, but he is uncharacteristically pessimistic, refusing to help. Then in another flashback, Claire's forehead at the hospital wound is stitched and a policeman, Officer Barnes, enters and questions her about the accident. She becomes very defensive when she believes he is implying the fault was hers or that her mother may die. Back to current time, by a stream when Kate is alone with Russo, Kate asks why she's not interested in the details about her daughter, and Russo explains that her daughter will not recognize her, will not know of her years or efforts to find her, and quite possibly Russo will not like what her daughter has become. She doesn't ask questions just because she doesn't want to know the answers. Kate asks Mikhail how he arrived on the island. He recalls that he was approached by a man when he was 24 and arrived via a submarine. Mikhail explains that the submarine can freely leave the island, but since the recent deactivation of the underwater beacon after the electromagnetic pulse, it would not be able to return to the island if it left. When Kate says that she can't understand why they would remain on the island willingly, Mikhail replies that they are simply not capable of understanding. Upon further questioning, he says that only those on the list are able to understand their reasons, but that Kate, Locke, and Saeed are flawed and therefore not on the list. He also explains that the list is made by the same magnificent man who brought all of the people to the island. Kate laughs, thinking he is talking about Ben, but Mikhail explains that Ben is not that man. He also lists specific reasons for why they aren't on the list. Kate is flawed, Locke is angry, and Saeed is weak and afraid. When Saeed laughs that the others are not really, Mikhail immediately begins addressing them all by their full names. He also sarcastically begins to say that everyone is a stranger to him, save John Locke. While Jin prepares a net, Claire and Sun chop up fish to use as bait. As they do, Sun says that this is precisely what her mother feared, her growing up to do mundane fishing work. Claire and Sun briefly discuss their parents' expectations for them before the net is completed, and they begin to catching the birds. And then back to our flashback, returning to the hospital after briefly going home for a shower, Claire finds that her Aunt Lindsay finds her Aunt Lindsay in her mother's room. They have a brief conversation where Claire is accused of not caring about her mother. When the doctor enters the room, he informs them that the surgery has stabilized her mother's condition, but that she may be in a permanent coma. He says he can't say without any confidence that she'll wake up. When Lindsay says that they can't afford such long-term billing care, the doctor reveals that the entire medical bill has been covered by an anonymous benefactor. Who is that, I wonder? Back to our current time, eventually a lone bird is attracted to the trap, or into the trap, but it is startled and flies off when Desmond fires a hunting rifle. He claims to be boar hunting. Frustrated, Claire demands that Charlie tell her why he and Desmond do not want to catch a bird. Russo has discovered a series of pylons with knobs on either side at the top directly across their intended path to the barracks. Saeed thinks it's a security perimeter. When asked what its purpose is, Mikhail responds that once it was supposed to guard the barracks, but like everything else, it is now broken. He also claims that the system entirely circles the barracks so that going around it is not an option, and tells Saeed to confirm this on the map. Locke deliberately puts down a pack and forcefully pushes Mikhail forward into the line of security fence between the two poles. And then an intense buzzing sound, and Mikhail has time enough to reply thank you before he begins foaming at the mouth, then is thrown backwards, gushing out of his nose and ears. Apparently, he is dead. Locke tells Kate and the others were never going to trade Mikhail for Jack. Saeed angrily questions Locke's motives for accompanying them. Kate and Saeed then discover C4 in Locke's backpack, showing that he may have intentionally careless in destroying the flame. Charlie spins a story to Claire about false hope. Charlie spins a story to Claire about false hope, which Claire sends Charlie away, that she doesn't want liars raising Aaron. And then back to our flashback. Claire later returns to visit her mother and finds an American doctor who is Christian Shepherd in the room, lightly touching her mother's forearm. When Lindsay enters the room, she immediately demands to know why he is there and begins to argue heatedly with him. Claire is confused as to who he is and how Lindsay knows him. Christian Shepherd confirms that he is the one paying the bills. Eventually, Christian reveals that he is Claire's father, whom she had been told was dead. So wait, Christian Shepherd is the father of Jack Shepherd and Claire. Interesting. Kate suggests going over the pylons, and the four devise a ramp made of fallen trees to climb over the deadly sonar fence. Kate goes safely over first, and then Locke follows. Claire asks Sun to watch Aaron while she goes to get some answers. Claire is working in this is back to our flashback. Claire is working in a tattoo and piercing parlor when Christian Shepherd arrives and asks her to join him for coffee before he leaves Australia. Although she is angry with him, she agrees. Christian explains that he had a fling with her mother that resulted in her birth. He also says that he had visited occasionally when she was younger, but that the fact that he had another family in the United States eventually made her mother and Lindsay too resentful for his visits to continue. Christian suggests that Claire should consider taking steps that are not illegal and would allow her mother's suffering to end. Claire cannot agree and tries to leave without even wanting to know her brother's name. Christian cautions her not to allow her guilt for her mother's condition to cloud her decision. Bye, kiddo. It's great seeing you again, is how he ends the conversation. Back to the island, Claire follows Desmond to a rocky area off the coastline where he effortlessly plucks a bird from the mound in the rocks. Claire confronts Desmond, noting he went straight to a hidden bird, so he must have known it would be there. And then, after initial denial, Desmond explains his visions of the future. He gestures to a rock and claims that is the location where Charlie, attempting to get a bird for Claire, would have slipped and fallen into the ocean, then died in the treacherous currents under the rocky shoreline. Back to our flashback, Claire's mother is still in the hospital in a coma. Claire visits her, a visit which is routine. Claire is now a blonde and obviously is pregnant. She turns the television on to a nature program showing a scene of birds flying in formation. She explains to her unconscious mother that she's pregnant and is about to give the baby away for adoption. She also apologizes to her mother, explaining that she understands how hard it was for her to raise her, especially because she was such a difficult daughter. She becomes overwhelmed with guilt and begins to sob in a really sad moment. She apologizes for arguing with her mother during the fatal car ride, which she told her that she hated her and wished she was dead, and describes the guilt she feels for the accident. Claire is no longer angry with Charlie. She writes a rescue note, and Charlie ties it to the bird's leg. The note informs the reader of the survivor's current circumstances and encourages whoever finds it to never give up hope on finding them. Claire releases the bird while Charlie stands beside her as the bird flies away from the pair. Claire tells Charlie that Desmond told her everything about his visions of Charlie's death. She promises that they can face his supposed doom fate together and that she has not given up hope for him. Kate, Locke, and Saeed soon arrive at the outskirts of the barracks, which is revealed to be the same location as depicted in the opening scene of the premiere, A Tale of Two Cities, a more modern suburb-like area, complete with houses, sidewalks, decorative landscaping, and recreational utilities. As they continue hiding in the surrounding foliage, they suddenly see Jack racing towards their hiding place. Kate utters his name as she begins to move forward toward him, but Saeed holds her back long enough to see that Jack is enjoying a game of football with Tom. Jack spikes the football to the ground, happily simulating a touchdown, and that's what ends this episode of Lost. So, some interesting things here, some things that aren't as interesting. I'll still give the episode an 8.5 out of 10. Claire is obviously the character of the episode, and my secondary character, I would have to go with Charlie. But Claire was really good in this episode. It was really sad seeing her with her mom in the coma. That was a sad moment. But you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate it? Whom would be your character of the episode? And anything else that you want to add. Remember, the legendary Crazy Coffee Man will also be seeing your comments, so ask him comments as well. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDevTV.